Naimbag na Rabi Cordillera, siya ni Clint Isvan Totanes. Ito ang programa na ating pinag-uusapan ang mga bagay na mahalaga para sa mga kabataan. Daytuyti, Dadadat para Sinaninungan, a youth-oriented podcast of the Philippine Information Agency, Cordillera. At para sa episode na ito ay ating pag-uusapan ang tungkol sa adolescent health. Kaya naman ay kasama natin si Sir Job Manalang mula sa Commission on Population and Development, Cordillera. So bago ang lahat, kausapin muna natin si Sir Job. Kumusta naman po kayo?
Mabuti. Good evening sa ating lahat ng viewers. Good evening Sir Clint at good evening sa mga kasama natin dito sa PIA CAR. Maraming salamat for inviting us.
Ayan, maraming salamat din po sir for giving us the opportunity para ma-interview po namin kayo sa aming programa. Kaya wag na po tayo magpapaligoy-ligoy pa. Let's go! Ayan, so the reason kung bakit na-invite po namin kayo dito sir sa ating episode ay upang pag-usapan natin ang adolescent health. Okay. And I believe na isa po ito sa napaka common na issue pero ayaw pag-usapan ng mga tao dahil parang taboo or hindi confident or ano yung mga kabataan natin na pag-usapan ito. Kaya naman sir, sa iyo pong observation dito sa Cordillera, ano po yung mga iba't ibang health-related issues na kinakaharap ang ating mga kabataan?
Well, importante na pag-usapan, katulad sa kahit na ayaw natin mga kabataan na pag-usapan yes. ng kalusugan at overall na development nila. Pero maraming aspects kasi nung development nila mga bata ang nakalink sa development natin as a country. Yun ang una dapat nating maisip dito, di ba? So, kung hindi sila healthy, hindi sila makapag-aral, hindi sila healthy, hindi sila makapagtrabaho, etc., etc. So, walang progress kung yung sino pa dapat yung pinakamalalakas na population natin, pinaka-energetic, yes. Walang energy para mag-aral at magtrabaho. It's all about health. So, dito sa atin, sa Cordillera, may ilang focus tayo na issues when it comes to adolescent health and development. Unang-una dyan na medyo chismis ang pakiramdam ay teenage pregnancy. Mm-hmm. At ito yung talagang for how many decades na ay issue, development issue, health issue ng ating mga kabataan, especially yung ating mga teenagers. Yun yung talagang focus ng programa natin under adolescent health and development. So, dito sa Cordilleras, somewhat good news natin na kung titignan natin yung datos ng mga bata na age 15 to 19, unti-unting bumababa naman yung number o yung bilang ng mga 15 to 19-year-old na babae na nabubuntis every year. So medyo may progress tayo in that aspect. Pero hindi pa rin yan pare-pareho pag nagpunta ka per province, per city, per municipality. So, doon tayo kailangan pa rin magtutok at balansehin yung equation para talagang buwaba yung population ng mga bata na nabubuntis. At isa pang major concern natin sa ngayon, na talaga namang chismis ang pakiramdam, ay 10 to 14 years old natin, yung mas batang teenagers natin, yun naman yung biglang may pagtaas. Across lahat ng regions natin, biglang itong 10 to 14, dumami ang mga buntis sa ganong edad. So medyo doon, wala tayong masyadong information, background kung bakit, sino, mga ito. Dahil nga minors, medyo may criminal aspect, yung ibang yes. reports and all of that. But doon tayo kinakabahan. Bakit nagiging mas bata yung mga pregnant natin na teenagers? So yun, isa na talagang concern natin when it comes to adolescent health and development.
Ayan, so sir, sa tingin niyo po ba, since na-mention nyo nga na kahit bumababa pa rin ang number ng mga kabataan who are engaged in this kind of issues, malaki pa rin po ba ito if i-compare natin sa total population ng Cordillera, especially ito sa mga kabataan na malaki pa rin po ba yung number? Kahit sinasabi natin na nagdi-decrease po siya.
Actually, ito yung usapan namin about teenage pregnancies, kahit na ano pa yung number, di ba? Kahit ilang libo, yes, ilang daan pa yung pinag-usapan natin, hindi normal na may teenage pregnancy. Okay. Yun yung isang talagang pinaka-concern natin. Sabi nga noon, nung mga kasama natin sa DOH, specifically si Dr. Cabral, quoted about this, that one teenage pregnancy is too much. Yun yung concern natin. Okay. So bawat nanay, bawat batang nanay na nabubuntis, importante yung kanyang status sa buhay dahil bukod sa potential na nawawala or na nababawasan bilang productive na citizen natin because of early parenthood, early pregnancy, yung potential ng bata din when it comes to risks ng health, yung potential niya mamatay dahil ng mga bagay is another concern na ating teenage pregnancy. So, 1 is too much, but as of the moment, roughly naglalaro tayo dito sa region around 2,000 a year.
2,000 a year.
So, kung 1/3 ng ating population ay within yung age na yun, so sabihin natin siguro mga roughly nasa 0.2% ng population nila. Hindi malaki kung titingnan mo yung kabuuan, pero meron pa rin. Yun ang problema.
So it is still a concern na dapat pagtuunan, hindi lamang siguro ng population and development, pati na din siguro lahat ng mga concerned agencies, at lagi nating tatandaan na pati siguro ang ating mga community members, sir, ay kailangan on hands din sila para matulungan natin yung mga kabataan na hindi mapunta sa ganitong mga issues.
Tama yan, kasi as much as simplify natin yung issue ng teenage pregnancy na kung saan sila ay nagsisex ng walang protection or masyado maaga silang na-engage sa sexual activities. Yun yung basic. Pero yung decision making, yung relationships nila with their partners na mas nakabata rin, and all these other aspects, these are environmental, these are social na mga bagay na hindi lang sa school, na pag-aaralan, sa bahay, sa community, across many sectors, merong aspect yan na nagkakaroon ng impact sa decision making nila.
Ayan. So, sir, since na-mention naman natin na yun nga, merong mga 2,000 ganyan na mga kabataan na nabubuntes, ano po sa tingin niyo, sir, ang reason kung bakit alam ko naman na the government is doing their best para po ma-inform ang mga kabataan. Ano kaya siguro, sir, ang reason kung bakit sa ngayon pa rin ay may mga kabataan who are underage na nabubuntes?
Well, it's all about yung rin nila. It's all about yung values and decision making nila. Doon talaga bumabagsak yung mga bagay-bagay. Like, we know that they are already engaging in sex. Yun yung pinaka-simple, simple baseline information natin. But yung proactively having protection when having sex, or at least delaying yung decision to have sex, ito yung mga bagay na up to them. So we provide natin information, they make the decision from that proper information, but most of the time nakikita natin talaga doon sa mga situation natin is hindi talaga sila ready at that point, whether it's the first time, second time, whatever time nilang engaging in sex, pero hindi kasi proactive yan na pinaghahandaan. Di mo ba? So parang yung mga kwentong narinig natin, biglang nag-half day sa school. Yes. Wala yung magulang, nandyan si jowa, nandyan si boyfriend, and then yun na, kung saan man mapunta, doon nangyayari mga bagay-bagay na walang bantay. So, it's not always going to be planned para doon sa ating mga teenagers. At naintindihan natin na when you're at that situation, magulo ang isip, yung bugso ng damdamin, and all that, yung kilig, and all of that, nangyayari natin, napagdaanan na siguro ng karamihan ng mga viewers natin yun, and you know yung situation na ito. But again, it's all about them being proactive with the decision-making nila about engaging in sex. So, yun yung basic. Yung iba naman, we're always associated with yung family din nila. Lumalabas yun sa data natin Most of the time, lumalaki yung chance na mabuntis or makabuntis ang isang teenager, tanggalin mo lang yung isang parent in the equation. Whether they're absent, wala talaga yung parent, or nasa ibang lugar nagtatrabaho, nasa abroad nagtatrabaho. Kapag wala yung isang parent, it's already 50% higher na may chance na mabuntis o makabuntis yung isang teenager. So yung parental guidance, as we call it, is an important factor doon din sa decision making ng mga bata. Siguro it's a matter of feeling yung affection ng parents, yung love, yung guidance, and all of that, na redirect sa kilig, sa jowa, and all of that. Kaya it becomes parang siguro mas mabigat yung affection ng lang karelasyon, and it happens na gano'n nga, napupunta sa teenage pregnancy. But there are many factors, even poverty is sometimes a factor, education level is a factor, but in the long run, pag tinignan mo yung characters ng ating mga, o yung profile ng ating mga teenage mothers, it's really a mix. Walang mayaman, walang mahirap. Talagang anyone, babae, 15 to 19, there's a risk na sila ay magbuntis.
Ayan. So, sir, sa tingin nyo din po ba is malaki ang factor ng peer pressure when it comes to this kind of issues? Kasi, syempre minsan, nasabi nyo nga kanina, may 50% higher risk kung yung mga kabataan na kulang or kulang ng parental guidance, ganyan po, sir. So, I think minsan yung mga kabataan naghahanap sila ng affection, hindi lang siguro sa ibang mga tao, pero sa kanilang mga friends mismo. And malaki po ba yung factor na pati yung mga yung mga friends nila na youth din, ay sila din ang nagpo-push to do these kinds of things?
Siguro hindi naman sa nagpo-push. Pero ang talagang isang unique na value ng isang bata when we're teenagers talaga is yung belongingness.
Yes.
Diba? So, lahat tayo gusto natin in some way to belong to a group, to create an identity, at ma-accept nung ating peers. Diba? Yun yung mga basic na needs ng ating mga kabataan sa ngayon. And maybe in some essence, not direct yung peer pressure, but if nangyayari siya within yung kanyang group, like they're all active or they have relationships and all of that, ayaw naman nilang ma-left out. So in the process, they consider din na parang just so we can be equals, just so we have the same experiences and all of that is let me do it too. Doon nagkakamali yung decision making natin sa ano. But kung titingnan mo rin naman, kung sino rin yung grupo that they're with, they will share the same values.
Yes.
So kung isang grupo na medyo talagang they're strict with themselves, focus sila sa sarili nila pag-aaral, no, that none of them engage in early relationships and all that, you will see lahat sila ganun. So it's not just a matter of peer pressure, but it's more of shared values ng mga kabataan when it comes to what they want to do or how they behave related to their group. So peer pressure maybe, but it's all about I think what they value kasi as a group.
So, maraming salamat po, sir. So, it only shows po na malaki ang factor ng upbringing, hindi lang siguro ng family, pati na din yung community as a whole, sa risk na nangyayari sa ating community. So, sa mga kabataan po na nag-undergo sa ganito mga challenges or issues, ano po siguro ang magiging epekto nito para po ma-avoid nila or ma-prevent yung mga ganitong issues? Ano po sa tingin niyo ang effect nito, hindi lang siguro sa kanilang physical health, pati na din siguro sa kanilang family, sa kanilang friends, and the community as a whole?
Well, syempre, marami talagang impacts beyond yung health na physical health na pinag-usapan natin kanina. Unang-una, social. Marami sa mga kabataan natin ang mapupush away because of teenage pregnancy. Whether it's forced dahil magbubuntis sila at aalis from school, di ba? Away from their friends and all of that. Or dahil nga again, shared values, baka ayaw ng other people to be associated with a teenager na nanay na or tatay na at sasabihin na hindi, we're not the same group. Mapupush away. So yung social aspect ng kanilang buhay ay medyo mababawasan or medyo sasama yung condition. And then also in the parents or the familial side, ganun din yung relationships would have to face a burden. Of course, walang magulang na gustong mangyari sa anak nila yon. And then in the middle of it all, in the process na tinatry nilang i-resolve yung problema, magkakaroon din ng distansya. Kasi may sasabihin ng magulang, kasalanan ko. Sasabihin ng anak, kasalanan ko rin. At in some point, nagsisisihan din sila. So those kinds of relationships will push through doon sa mga families na meron tayo. So when it comes to the other aspects nung kanilang buhay, economic, mahal mag-alaga ng bata. Everyone should know that. Mahal mag-anak, mahal magbuntis, mahal ang mag-alaga ng bata. And if you are 15, 16, wala ka namang income.
Yes.
Hindi sapat ang allowance to take care of a child. Common math yan, basic math yan. So, economically, whether yung lalaki o yung babae to be forced out of school, maghanap ng means to support, whether supported siya ng parents or not, of course, it's an additional cost para sa isang pamilya. So, economics, they will have a problem with that. And lastly, I think ito yung emerging na concern din natin, mental health. Yung kanilang psychological development is going to be in jeopardy because of teenage pregnancy. Kasi ano nga naman ang papasok sa isip mo na ikaw ay 15, 16, magulang ka na, bata kang nag-aalaga ng bata.
Opo.
Di ba? You're not ready for any of this.
Malaki din yung responsibility.
Yes, exactly. So, isipin mo yung aspect na sarili mo nga, hindi mo kaya kalagaan.
Exactly.
So, yung
mahirap.
all that turmoil, yung pressure ng society on you, yung tingin ng ibang tao na nakikita mo, and yung nakikita mo on social media, what you're supposed to be, yung napapanood mo, nakikita mo, then you're here, you're stuck. So, yung mental health ng ating mga teenage parents, not only the women, but also the young men na nagiging batang tatay, this all comes together sa kanilang psychological health. So, lumilitaw din talaga na malaking impact, and this leads to poor mental health ng ating mga kabataan. So, yun, yung mga maraming talagang impacts ang teenage pregnancy, whether pinanganak na yung bata o hindi pa.
Ayun. So talaga namang napaka-severe nung epekto nito, hindi lang sa person as a whole, pati na din pala sa kanyang community and the family, kasi parang nadadrag down na din siguro po sir yung kanilang mga family, kasi parang sinasabi nila na parang nagkaroon ang mga parents ng lapses, ng poor decision making, yung mga ganun po na parang hindi nila nabantayan ng masyado ang kanilang mga anak. Pero nabanggit mo kanina sir na if a certain person ay nagkaroon ng teenage pregnancy, parang nakikita niya na lang na yung kanyang mga friends ganyan ay happy, yung mga ganun sa may mga social life ganyan. And I want to go back sa mga factors na nag-a-affect doon sa bakit nagkakaroon ng ganitong issue. Sir, sa tingin niyo po ba malaking factor din po ang social media na nakakaapekto sa kung bakit nagkakaroon ng teenage pregnancy?
Okay.
Yung mga nakikita nila sa social media, yung ganun po.
Yeah. I think it's a matter of yung ating media in general.
Yes po.
Not only social media in general, trying to become more mature kung ano yung messages.
Yes.
Napapansin naman na natin ito sa mga pinapalabas sa TV, sa available sa YouTube, Netflix,
yes.
Bawal magsabi naman brands, pero nagsabi Facebook, and all of that. Yung mga nakikita nila, it's trying to be more mature, yung aspect na yun. So, I think yung ating values din as a society sa Pilipinas is trying to change itself to adapt to a more global na value system na it's okay to talk about sex, it's okay to talk about violence, talk about all of these aspects. Ang problema ng the access is open. Diba? So, kung ikaw ay bata, syempre si mommy wants, or mommy and daddy wants you to be happy, bigyan ka na Netflix account. Diba?
May cellphone ka na.
Dahil ikaw ay better technologically adapt na teenager, mas alam mong i-manage yung account ng Netflix na yun. And this opens up yung access mo to all of this information, whether sa Pilipinas man yung content na yan or galing ka abroad, you will have access to all of that. So, yung iyong perceptions will always be based sa iyong napapanood, nakikita, whether it's in TikTok and all of this. But again, it's trying to be more mature at humahabol yung mga bata who have more access doon sa information na yun. Kung iisipin natin, itong generation, the last 10 or 20 years or so, would be the most informed na generation. Diba? If you compare it dun sa mga previous na kabataan, they did not have this kind of wealth of information through the internet. Yes. At kung ikaw na bata, if you think about this, na parang yung utak mo is a library, na puno-puno ng mga libro, isipin mo kung what would be your first decision kung anong librong kukunin. It'll be hard. Kung meron kang lahat ng information na ito, nasa utak mo in all of this, na-access mo in all of this, you do not know what's wrong and right. Dahil ang dami. Ang dami nagkalat. And marami sa atin would automatically blame social media. Tama, di ba? Madaling sabihin. Madaling sabihin yung general term dahil sa social media. But if you ask mga government agencies, sa PIA, na information is a matter of power, para sa produce yung ating outputs, we know that social media is only a tool.
Yes.
It's just a channel. Pero ang problema nga is that kung ano yung napupuntahan nila dictates kung ano yung nakikita at naiisip nila or napagdi-decide nila. So, ang hindi natin nagagawa is really be in front ng mga bata before they get to this information or access these kinds of information. At ang napapansin namin, if you would talk about communication, yung behavior change ng ating mga kabataan, we're always late. Tama sa gobyerno, who's always supposed to provide yung service, yung ways to stop itong mga issues natin ito, we're always one step behind sa mga bata. Pag lumabas lang yung issue, that's when we react. So, ganun nung nagiging issue natin with social media. It's going to be very hard dahil ito'y bago sa ating lahat. It's very open. It's very, it has its own rules when it comes to information sharing and all of that. Kaya, it's up to us. It's up to us na gumagabay sa mga bata na to take further steps on how we deal with yung access to information na to.
Ayan, so talaga namang napaka-importante yung paggabay na nagmumula hindi lamang sa magulang, pati na din siguro po ang community and of course yung government agencies, kasi I believe yun nga nasabi mo kanina, we are doing everything that we can, pero minsan dahil na masyadong mabilis ang technology, naiiwan tayo. And I hope na with all of these information education campaigns na ginagawa po ng iba't ibang mga ahensya, ay matulungan po natin ang mga kabataan para para mabawasan ang mga ganitong issues sa community. So going back po doon sa ating discussion kanina, sir, na may mga epekto talaga yung teenage pregnancy sa mga kabataan, sa family and to community. Ano naman po dapat ang role ng family, ng community para po mas magabayan pa nila ng mas maayos ang ating mga kabataan?
Well, unang-una, our communities should not, or our families, our communities, hindi dapat maging judgmental about this. Di ba? As much as masakit sa pakiramdam, makita yung anak mo na parang sabihin na natin umalis sa landas na tama or sa tamang progress ng kanyang buhay, it's actually up to us na adults, parents, and yung ating mga communities to understand kung bakit nangyayari ito. So again, on information is all we need. Proper information is all we need. Maintindihan natin bakit nangyayari ito, paano sila mag-isip, how do we really guide them through the process of moving through adolescence. Kasi as much as ibang generation na itong ating nakakasalamuha, itong ating Gen Z, Gen Alpha, whatever the next generation that will come in, yung basics of life are the same. Diba? So, tanggalin mo social media, tanggalin mo all of the other aspects, the basics of life are the same. At as adults, we should know how to bring that down dun sa ating mga kabataan. Siguro, maraming pressure din sa mga adults when it comes to development and progress. Kailangan kumita ng pera, I need this, provide that, and all of that, na yung basics of parenting, of just being there, listening, providing guidance, all that nawawala. Because ano nga naman ang oras na meron tayo in a day. But again, it's up to us really to find a way na lumapit doon sa ating mga bata at make sure na they feel na nandun tayo, whether their parents or the community, programs and services ng gobyerno. We have to make sure na ramdam na nandun tayo. I think that's one of the most important roles talaga na gawin ng ating mga magulang to start building up yung fight against teenage pregnancy and other issues ng ating mga kabataan.
Ayun. So talaga namang malaki talaga ang responsibilidad ng ating mga parents kasi sila yung number one na nakakakita sa mga ginagawa ng kanilang mga anak. Ano po, sir? So para naman po sa mga kabataan, ano po yung mga masasabi ninyo na pwede nilang gawin or yung kanilang mga dapat gawin upang hindi sila mapunta sa ganitong mga issues po?
Well, unang-una siguro is make better decisions. Ito yung siguro it's a very vague answer, pero I think dahil yung ating mga kabataan are well-informed, they're technically maturing faster than yung last generation and all of that. Then yung maturity na nagigain nila in all these years should be put into a different direction. Meaning, kung ikaw ay bata, ikaw ay teenager at 15, 16, or 19 years old at you're just starting to understand kung anong gusto mo maging, anong gusto mo mangyari sa buhay and all that, you go through that direction. Di ba? Tutukan mo yung aspect ng iyong buhay na gusto mo mangyari. Hindi yung you're just going day by day. Madali yung going day by day. Doon tayo na naloloko. O chill lang tayo. Bangon, kain lang, pasok sa school lang. Madaling gawin yun. But because you're maturing, you have all this information in front of you sa cellphone mo and all of that. It will help to make better decisions. At I think yun yung one aspect of your use, social media, nandito ka na rin lang at nanonood through social media, you find better information online. Diba? Madaling mag-chill, madaling mag-relax, manood ng kung ano-ano, but there are means to better yourself, learn something new, whether it's a skill, learn something about something interesting sa'yo na sa tingin mo gusto mong gawin in the future. Kasi kung if you're directed into activities, not just on relationships with other people and all of that, at naka-focus ka on your own development, I don't even think aabot ka sa point na you're going to make a bad decision. But again, if you are a teenage parent, a teenage mother, a teenage father, don't think na huli na ang lahat. That's the other part ng equation natin dito. So even if merong hurdle, merong balakid sa yung diretsong path to development, it's not the end. Yun yung dapat ma-realize. Yung bata ka pa, and any one of us dito sa room na to would pay for how many years na mabawi natin. Pabalik. So, para maging mas bata ulit. And that is a resource na you still have. So, ito yung mga pwedeng gawin. Just make a path for yourself, mag-focus ka sa kung ano lang gusto mong gawin. All the other aspects of yung sa tingin mong importante, bababa yung value ng mga like relationships. Kailangan ko ba magka-jowa? These are just very magiging shallow na decisions lang ito. Pag nakafocus ka kung talagang anong gusto mong gawin sa buhay.
Ayun, so it also means na hindi talaga importante. I would have to say, hindi ganun ka-importante ang magkaroon ng jowa sa age na 14, 15.
It's fun. Okay, tutulungan ka niya mag-build ng understanding kung anong gusto mo sa isang partner, sinong gusto mong kasama and all of that. But don't take it that seriously na parang yung first boyfriend mo ay asawa mo na. Hindi laging ganun yung kwento. So, don't take it seriously, have fun with it, but make better decisions with it. Yun yung siguro kailangan natin gawin.
That is very true, po sir, kasi nakikita ko din sa mga kabataan ngayon, na parang isa sa mga highlights ng buhay nila, nung kabataan nila yung magkaroon ng jowa talaga.
Parang hindi pwedeng maging single since birth.
Ayan, so paunahin niyo muna kami na medyo mas older sa inyo.
Tulungan niyo na lang, si Sir Clay.
Tulungan niyo muna kami na magkaroon ng jowa, tapos pag nakahanap na kami, and then after mga 10 years, ganyan.
Sige, habol kayo.
Kayo na yung sunod. So, ganun po yun. Ayan. So, speaking of po sa mga activities, marami pong mga activities talagang ating mga government agencies. Sa inyo po sa Commission on Population and Development, ano po yung mga iba't ibang mga programa ninyo na pwede pong makatulong hindi lang sa ating mga kabataan, ngunit pati sa mga families natin para mas magabayan pa nila ang kanilang mga anak?
Well, sa mga kabataan natin, we always have itong mga learning sessions natin related to adolescent sexuality, reproductive health, and overall development ng ating mga kabataan. So, meron kami yung module namin which we call SHAPE, Sexually Healthy and Empowered Adolescents. So, a personally empowered adolescent, so SHAPE. So, doon, tinuturo namin yung different aspects of pagiging bata, pagiging teenager, yung development na yung pinagdadaanan, whether it's physical, psychological, mental, and social. And we're trying to give you yung power of conflict management, proper decision making, and all of these life skills na kailangan mo to progress through life properly. So, we've already done this with DepEd. Tinuruan namin mga teachers, some other service providers, mga even communities natin at yung mga LGUs natin, turuan na natin with this module. So, you can ask yung school ninyo about it if you want, para may roll out or maturuan kayo ng mga modules natin. And I believe some of the teachers natin have already been using yung modules dun sa aming SHAPE as part of their curriculum na. So, na-integrate pa isa-isa, whether these are activities na nanggaling do sa aming full na manual or full na module or taking yung buong session as it is at dinadala nila sa classroom. So we're very happy with that partnership with DepEd related to yung aming shape. On the other aspect, and we're very happy with this also, required na sa ating mga LGUs to have teen centers or youth centers. Okay, so ano ba yung plano natin with these centers, teen centers? So bukod doon sa ating health centers na dapat ay adolescent friendly to provide health services para sa ating mga kabataan, itong teen center, you would consider it one-stop shop para sa ating mga kabataan. So if meron kang city hall para sa processing ng mga government services and all of that, the teen center is a younger, more friendlier version
para sa atin.
Para sa ating mga kabataan. So dito, we want them to access all the other services na maaaring kailangan nila, whether it's help with livelihood, kung kailangan mo ng part-time job, kung kailangan mo ng counseling, if you have any concerns about your mental health, or even just meron kang gustong guidance na mahingi or advice na mahingi from our facilitators. Also, yung social, we want yung teen center to be where they come together, do some activities, training, skills. So, gusto sana namin talaga na alam ng mga bata, nandiyan yung teen center, and whatever they need from the government, from programs and services natin, dito na lang kami pupunta. This is for us. So, part ng teen center, they have peer facilitators, so the same na mga teenagers to talk to them, discuss yung mga issues, and provide them some feedback on yung mga bagay-bagay na nangyayari sa kanila. And referral. So, kung kailangan ng other office, other government office or agency, or even private partners na merong specific service na hinahanap ka, the teen center will also refer them properly sa mga facilities na ito. So, one-stop shop. Kung may kailangan ng isang bata, it's all about the teen center ang kailangan namin puntahan.
Ayun. So, going back doon sir, sa SHAPE, paano po yung rollout nyo dito? Pumupunta po ba kayo sa mga iba't ibang schools or paano po yung partnership nyo dito sa DepEd?
We can't really cover na mag-provide ng training, all of that. So, tinututukan namin sila na nandun na sa schools, nandun na sa community with the module para sila na yung mag-roll out. So, last May lang, the last batch na aming naturuan was from Abra in Apayao. So, mayroon ng batch ng nurses, guidance counselors, and some teachers na naturuan namin the SHAPE module. And we're hoping na kapag may request doon sa kanilang provinces or sa kanilang schools, sila na yung mag-roll out ng SHAPE kung paano mang paraan nilang makita na i-roll out yung program.
Ayun. So, ang ganda po na yung natitrain nyo talaga mismo is yung mga teachers din, sir, and yung kanilang mga nurses sa schools. Ayan, kasi kung wala yung mga parents sa mga bahay nila, ganyan, kasi yung mga estudyante natin, syempre, yung mga teachers natin, yung mga nurses, yung mga administrators doon sa school, sila din ang nakabantay sa mga kabataan. So, I think that is a very noble na program ng ating population and development. So, going back din ulit, sir, doon sa youth centers, dito po sa Cordillera, lahat po ba ng mga local government units natin ay may mga youth centers na po ba? Paano po yung progress nito dito sa atin?
Okay. So, dito sa Cordillera, we have a few pa lang teen centers na talagang na-establish. We had a few before, pero medyo nag-die down yung program. But now, with help from the DILG, required na ang LGUs to establish at least one na teen center, whether it's community-based or school-based na teen center. So, we have a few in Ifugao. Hindi ako nagkakamali. There are 6 teen centers ngayon sa Ifugao. Baguio, there are 2 na school-based. One is in Pines, and the other, hindi siya sa City High. Nakalimutan ko yung isang teen center. But one is in Pines. In the other provinces naman, like in the other city, like sa Tabuk, magtatayo sila ng community teen center na nandun sa grounds ng City Hall. So, ito yung progress natin with pushing na under the seal of good housekeeping and good governance. Kasama na siya doon. Kasama yung teen center. So, talagang ito yung development natin with that. And we're hoping with this nga, unti-unti na ma-establish itong ating mga teen center. It doesn't have to be a new building. Kung basta it has to be space na accessible sa mga bata. And we're trying to make sure din na naka-adjust sa oras ng mga bata. It's not an 8 to 5 na facility na pagdating ng 5 wala ng tao. So we're trying to also fix yung concern na yun. Kasi syempre, in school, out of school yun. Iba rin yung kanilang oras. So we want to adjust din dun sa pangailangan ng mga bata. So this is what we're looking forward to with yung SGLG involvement sa teen center.
Ayun, so yung mga teen centers pala natin ay napaka-inclusive po sir, kasi you're taking into considerations yung oras ng mga estudyante, yung mga out of school youths, pero paano po yung management ng mga teen centers? Sino po yung parang nakatoka na bantayan ang centers na yan?
So, yung basic namin na setup would always be under the population office. So, the municipal city population office would be yung nasa tuktok, nakatutok doon sa ating teen center. Pero dahil we're requesting na one-stop shop yung ating teen centers, there should be a committee, a council na made up of different agencies or made up of different departments sa kanilang LGU na nag-provide ng service dun sa ating teen center. So, it should be a group managing yung teen center natin para kung may specific needs yung bata na kung dumarating sa teen center, there will always be someone na merong idea or nasa kanila yung service na kanilang hinahanap. So, it has to be a group, but we want it under the population office.
Ayun. So, ang sipag naman po ng taga-Population and Development Office. Nasabi nyo nga kanina na kahit konti lang yung population nyo doon, you're still doing your best para talaga namang matulungan ang ating mga kabataan and of course, ang kanilang mga family and the community as a whole. So, going back sa ating usapin kanina on teenage pregnancy, ano naman po ang parang pinaka-message niyo sa ating mga kabataan?
Well, when it comes to teenage pregnancy, kahit na you're provided with the proper information, you're provided with the services, yung parte ng yung development is always up to you. Diba? Yun yung ating you're transitioning from being a child to a teenager to a full adult. Ito yung point that you're trying to learn how to make better decisions. There's no better decision than not yet engaging in early sex or not yet asking for these kinds of serious relationships na might put you at risk when it comes to your overall physical health. So, making better decisions about yourself will lead to better outcomes para sa inyo. So, kung meron kang pangarap, make decisions that lead to achieving yung goal niyo. So, whether you're a young boy or young girl, a teenager or not, sa tingin ko, it's really about focusing kung ano ba talagang gusto mong mangyari, gusto mong gawin. And tayo sa government will always be there to provide yung services na kailangan niyo for that, whether you need help sa pagtatrabaho, whether you need information just to find something out, or whether kailangan nyo ng other aspects of your development in school or out of school. The government has that service for you. All you need to do is really find it, magtanong, huwag kayo mahiya magtanong, kahit na kung minsan masusungit kami. Hindi naman. Mabait naman kami. Depende sa oras lang siguro. But don't be afraid to ask questions. I think yun naman yung maganda sa ating mga kabataan ngayon. They're not really that afraid to ask the questions and find out information. So, again, use the tools in front of you. Nandiyan yung internet, Google everything you need. Hanapin sa Facebook yung mga offices natin, and you will find what you need with whatever development you have.
Ayun naman. So ano pa naman po sir ang pwede nating advice or message sa ating mga parents?
Well, unang-una, when it comes to aming pagtitrain ng parents to deal with adolescents, meron din kasi kaming ganung module, communicating. And it's all about communication. The most simple solution to resolving problems with your teens is communicating.
Communication.
So, marami na tayong commercials na nakita about this na kumain lang sa bahay. Sabi mo, kumustahin.
Parang noodles yun.
Oo, lahat. Marami. Huwag na tayo sabi ng brand. Makipagkwentuhan sa inyong mga anak. These are just normal things. Kahit na pagod na kayo from work, sa tingin niyo ang dami niyo pang kailangan gawin sa bahay, what is 30 minutes para check up on your kid? Kahit na siguro hindi kanya pinapansin. May sarili siyang mundo sa kanyang laptop, cellphone, or tablet. Hi, hello, kumusta anak is a simple thing to say. Diba? Every time you come in or every time you come home na mabutan sila, kumusta yun yung mga anak ninyo? And it all starts there. Yung proper communication starts with just checking up on your children.
Sir, nabanggit nyo kanina na may module din po kayo sa mga parents. So, do you also conduct programs na kung saan involved ang parents and the children?
Yeah. Specifically, ito yung aming tinatawag na Parent Teen Talk, PTT. So, Parent Teen Talk. So, most of the time, sa isang community, meron kami mga trained na population officers to roll out yung module. At yung process nun is basically we call in yung parent and their teenagers at the same time. They go through the module separately. Tapos magsasama sila ulit with yung learning sila together. And in the end, we try to resolve yung communication gap. Yun yung basic no. We try to solve yung communication gap between parents and their teens. Kaya parent-teen talk. So, in the end of all this, hopefully, naintindihan ng parent yung kanilang teenager, naintindihan nila yung kanilang sarili as a parent, and the other way around din, yung teens can understand them better. Bilang magulang at bilang kabataan, they know what they should be, what they could be, and resolve yung issues nila together dun sa process na yun. It's just one whole day, mostly parents and their teens yung ating mga participants in this. And you can ask yung local population office to conduct this in your school, whether you're a parent or a teenager, you can ask them, at there will be a chance na willing sila to conduct this for you.
Ayan. So, with that program, sir, ano pa yung parang naging results nito? I mean, I believe nakakandak naman po kayo. Positive naman po ang parang feedback. Effective naman po ba siya?
Actually, ito yung talagang parang gap na hindi natin basta naisip. Like, if you can really communicate with your teenager, whether in a letter, kasi baka ma-preempt ko yung process ng parenting talk. But in the end kasi nung parenting talk, they write a letter for each other. So whether it's what is the biggest advice na gusto mo ibigay sa iyong anak, or yung anong gusto mo sabihin sa nanay o tatay mo na hindi mo masabi sa amin, write it down. Tapos in that process, whether ready na silang ibigay at that moment yung message or advice o hindi, as long as na nagawa nila yung way means to communicate, and when they're ready to give it to each other, then they start the communication process. Yung healing process na sinasabi natin.
May healing process.
May healing. Lahat kailangan ng
So may mga umiyak na.
The usual. Ito na natin. Very touching yung moment between parent and their teens. Kasi doon talaga nagsa-start. Di ba magkaroon ng gap?
Yes.
Hindi na baby. Si mommy ay hindi mo na best friend.
Ayan.
So mga ganun. So the gap, we're trying to bring it back by simply communicating with each other.
Ayun, so napaka-heartwarming naman po nun,
Ako pwede ka makita rin yung one time sa
ayan, so baka pwede namang maka-join kami. Pwede bang ma-join ng event?
Actually, pwede. I think if meron dito sa Baguio or somewhere near, maybe we can ask you to cover.
Sure.
Siyempre, wag yung iyakan moment. Pressure yung mga parents natin.
Baka
may camera. Iyak siya din. Balak pala mag-artista ni mama.
Ayun, so nasabi naman na po natin ang message natin sa youth and then sa kanilang mga parents. Paano naman po sa mga community? Ano ang dapat laging tandaan ng community when it comes to this kind of issues?
Meron tayong kasabihan when it comes to taking care of our children. They're still children. So, yes. Alam ko kayo yung tinatawag kayong children, but you're still young and
yes, you're
still a child. So, but it takes a village to raise a child. Yun yung lagi natin sinasabi. And as much as it is just a quote, it's just a slogan or whatever, the reality is nandun yung core. So, yung quality ng ating community, yung ating environment, lumalabas yan doon sa kung ano yung quality ng tao. That's population and development. So, if we as a community can come together, whether you're from government, private sector, or just an individual, concerned individual, we have to make sure na yung ating communities are ready to accept itong mga teenagers natin at yung mga issues at yung mga problema na kanilang bit-bit sa araw-araw, and try to help them out as much as possible. Alam kong yung ating mga barangay officials are still dealing with many other things, but this is still a program ng ating gobyerno. We can ask ng ating SK officials na nandyan to also look into your peers, yung mga kasamahan sa kabataan. Tutukan natin yung mga issues na to na lumalabas, na still nangyayari, still nandyan, and we have the resources for it. We just need to manage it properly. So it takes a village to raise a child, and lahat tayo are involved or supposed to be involved sa process ng pag-aalaga sa ating mga kabataan.
Ayun, so talaga namang kailangan nating lahat na magsama-sama upang magabayan natin ang mga kabataan. Kasi hindi lang ang parents nila, hindi lang ang community, lahat-lahat po tayo ay may buy-ins or may kailangang ibigay para talagang mabantayan natin ang mga kabataan. Kaya naman sir, ano po yung parang hope ninyo after all of these programs? Ano po ang nakikita ninyo na maaari pang mangyari para mapigilan natin ang teenage pregnancy?
Well, I hope na mapasa, unang-una in a very logical matter, is mapasa na yung ating anti-teenage pregnancy bill as into a law.
Okay.
This will really help na i-declare ang teenage pregnancy as a major development problem. Magkaroon tayo ng enough resources to put in programs and services para sa mga kabataan na hindi lang maiwasan ang pagbubuntis, but maalagaan din yung mga nagbuntis na at nag-aalaga na ng mga bata. Doon yung aspect ng development na baka noong mga unang pagkakataon na hindi natin masyadong natutukan. Naka-focus tayo on prevention and all of that. Pero pag nandyan na yung baby, nabuntis na si teenager, medyo nabibitawan na siya ng ating programs and services. And I think yun yung aspect na dapat din mabuo when it comes to our teenage pregnancy and adolescent health and development issue. We have to look at both ends nung problema. And we hope na ganun nga, with the anti-teenage pregnancy law or bill, sana mapasa na sa priority or at least mabigyan linaw kung ano yung direction natin when it comes to this social issue. Magsama-sama ng agencies to really look into the problem, maintindihan yung changing problem dahil ito ay bagong generation na mga kabataan, and to really come together and provide everything para sa mga bata, kasi in 10, 20 years or so yung ating development is dependent on them. Walang ibang sasalo ng bansa natin kundi sila. Diba? So yun ang kailangan nating tutukan, is make sure na tuloy-tuloy tayo as Pilipinas and developing as a country na gusto natin.
So, really hoping na in the coming years ay magkaroon talaga ng development para talaga magkaroon tayo ng sinasabi nilang totoong development na involve lahat ng sectors, yung mga kabataan, yung ating mga senior citizens, yung mga adults, lahat-lahat na. Ayun. So, isa na namang napakahalagang usapin ng ating napagdiskusyonan ngayong episode na ito. Kaya naman lagi nating aabangan ang aming Dad-Dad-At para Sinaninuan, a youth-oriented podcast of the Philippine Information Agency Cordillera. At wag niyo pong kakalimutan na i-follow and like ang aming Facebook page, PIA Cordillera. And meron din po kaming TikTok, that's PIA Cordillera. And available din po kami sa YouTube, PIA Cordillera pa rin. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat, and abangan niyo po kami sa susunod na Sunday.